Motor City, we've been around for 80 years. That's like 560 adult years. Basically, we're the top dogs of Colorado. And thanks to our deals, selection, and service, we've earned some pretty loyal customers. And our GM, Mark, he's the most loyal guy I know. Even after I chewed up his shoe, it was delicious.
Great trucks, amazing deals, and belly rubs for dogs. Come see why Colorado drives Bill Long Ford in Motor City. Hey guys, where's my shoe? Oh.
Hey there, crew. Welcome to Peaks2Plains Weather here. It is 5 o'clock now, a little bit after 5 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon. And I want to give you an update on what's been happening out there today, because it's been working out pretty good for what we've been talking about over the last few days. First legit thunderstorms of the year in the early part of the afternoon. Robin sent this in from Constitution and Circle. And so, yeah, it certainly has been a little bit of an interesting day, and I don't think we're done with it yet. I want to give you an opportunity to join me live. I have these links that are always ready for you to join me here on Peaks2Plains Weather, because that's what it's all about. It's our weather together. So if you have a report, if you're in Teller County, you're starting to get some snow, starting to stick, and you want to show us out the door, put these links into your phone. You can join us from your home on a desktop computer. You can put it into an iPad. And so they're both vmix.at, and then there's two different slashes. And the top one is ZM. Those are both small letters. Capital S, small J, big K. And then the bottom one is the number 1, small R, big J, big S. And then that's an L ahead of the number 1. Those are always the same. So if you write those down, you can join those on the show. I'll give you a chance here to do that again coming up in a little bit. So I want to show you how things have been kind of changing here through the course of the afternoon. Temperatures are dropping. We are much cooler than we had out there yesterday. You can see that here across the region. About 15 to 25 degrees behind the cold front that moved through the area. If you've been watching me the last few days, if you were watching this morning, told you to be ready for the changes that are coming up this afternoon. And we've started to see the snow levels dropping. So on Pikes Peak, we've got some snow. It hasn't been particularly heavy, and it's actually been a little bit heavier here on top of Cheyenne Mountain than it has been up across Pikes Peak. And we're going to keep that around here through the evening. We do have more rain and snow to go here over the next several hours, and the temperatures are going to keep dropping. So as we move a little bit deeper into the evening, you know, places like Woodland Park that have just seen wet roads might see that change a little bit over the next couple of hours. Cascade, we've had some pretty persistent rain. I've been watching cars drive through with splashback there as we have moved through the afternoon, so that has been nice to see. Monument, you can see I-25, a little bit damp in spots. And as you can check out Tamco Live Doppler radar here, we've really started to see this fill in over the last few hours. In fact, that's the last 2 hours. I'm going to take this back to the last 6 hours here and show you kind of how things have been developing through the course of the day. Started off in the Pikes Peak region. We had several cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. We got that, what was described to me as lentil-sized hail. Love that. Never heard that before. I thought that was really, really funny. And now as we head into the afternoon here and inching toward the evening, you can see that we do have still some convection off to the southwest of Pueblo, as we have some areas where we're getting a little bit more sort of intense radar return. And that instability still has to work across the region into the evening. And so there's a low thunderstorm that's been coming out of Custer County here. It's south of Highway 50. You see it moving off to the northeast. The computer's picking up that thunderstorm cell there and kind of driving it off to the northeast here. And so, you know, things are going to remain interesting for the next few hours. You'll also notice over the Pikes Peak region that we're starting to see a little bit more blue. I would point you to kind of Black Forest there, where earlier in the afternoon we were seeing the greens associated with rain, and now we're seeing that sort of change over to snow. So if you have something to ask or something to report, you can do that here. Kind of, you know, in the chat is a good place to do that, or you can also fire up here on those live links that I mentioned to you. A couple other things I want to show you here before we start really talking the forecast specifics for tonight. Pueblo, we had some rain earlier. It's been a little bit of a break here over the last little bit. The road has dried out a touch. Winds out of the northeast at 25, so certainly feeling cooler than what we've had yesterday. And you're looking west here from Pueblo West on McCulloch Boulevard, and you can see a little bit of kind of brightening of the sky there. And that's sort of a little bit of an indication. It's real spring-like out there this afternoon. And it's 46 in Canyon City, where we have seen some showers. So Ashley says, yeah, it's not raining in Canyon City. We have seen some rain earlier. Whoops, sorry about that. That's not what I meant to do there. Apologize. Let me go ahead and change one thing here in my, we want the social message. There we go. Let me try that again. And now we'll send that to hopefully the right place. Let me check out Ashley's thing once again. There we go. She says, not raining in Canyon City. I have seen a couple drops there on the camera lens. And, not at Ashley's place, but we have seen some action. So some of that not making it down to the ground yet. But for some of us, the rest of us, that is going to be coming our way. So let's talk about the forecast here for a little bit later into the evening, because we're not done with this yet, as I said. I'm going to head over to the weather wall to do that, to break that down here. And I want to just, if you're going to be out and about this evening, kind of don't want you to be surprised about what is on the way. So you can see here that we've got through the course of the day here, it's been coming in from the west. And as it's moved into the area, it has instability with it. And that's been sort of firing up here as we head through the day. Cold front's been coming in from the northeast, and we're getting both of those things to kind of mix here across the Front Range from the Palmer Divide down across the Pikes Peak region and now over some of the mountain areas off to the southwest of Pueblo. And you can see the heart of this system still has to kind of move through the area here through the evening, so we're not done with it as of yet. And we've started with everything up across the Denver area and the mountains through the course of the morning. And then we've seen things spreading off to the south here as we moved into the afternoon. This is very, very similar to what I've been showing you over the last few days. And again, those thunderstorms are an indication that we have that springtime instability out there that Robin sent earlier. And you can send me things through the Peaks2Plains Weather app. There is a Send to Matt feature there that's in the bottom right-hand corner of the Peaks2Plains Weather app. Skycast is underdoing what's happening out there just a little bit. As we move into the evening, though, notice that it's kind of increasing the coverage, so its trend is right. It's just a little bit slow with it here. But notice that we still have some dark blue showing up. And so this is what I've been talking about the last few days, that as we have moved toward the back part of the afternoon and evening, it's these couple bursts that we're concerned about, because as the sun goes down, temperatures getting colder here, and we've had some thunder today. These convective bursts sometimes can give people like challenging conditions that sometimes catch motorists up over the Palmer Divide or even coming out of Teller County, a little bit of a changing situation that can cause some issues. And so I still think there's a chance of some reduced visibility, some quick accumulations of snow here as we move through the evening. Then as we head toward early Wednesday morning, we'll be in the process of getting this out of here. Anything out over the plains will be in the form of rain, and then we'll clear out as we head into early Wednesday morning. And so, like I've been telling you the last few days, this is not a guarantee. I haven't changed this at all for 2.5 days here. And so I've been the same message, talking about potential, not guarantee. But as this situation is on top of us now for the next couple of hours, it's still a possibility, and I don't want you to be caught off guard if you have some travel plans. System's out of here by tomorrow morning, though. We're mainly in the sort of mid-teens to mid-30s. And there'll be some of the mountain spots that are a little bit cooler. And, a lot of us, though, right around maybe a little bit above freezing. But tomorrow's a nice day. We'll have sun. So that'll help it feel better than this afternoon. We won't have as much in the way of a breeze. We won't have showers around. So it's a better feeling one out there. Banjo, he's excited for it. Wednesday's pretty good when you consider what's happening out there right now and what's on the way for Thursday into Friday. So he's going to 9 on Banjo's barometer. What's going to happen? The change. Why is tomorrow the best day to be outside? Well, the wind's not too bad tomorrow, but as we head into Thursday and the late week system is approaching, we pick the wind up on Thursday out of the southwest. It's coming from the deserts. There will be some areas that get some gusts. Might have a couple spots around 50 miles per hour here to the west of I-25. Otherwise, noticeably breezy. That's a high fire danger day. What about Friday? Well, after we get past this fire weather situation, it's a fire weather watch now. That will be upgraded to a red flag warning. And warm temperatures that in a couple spots may be around 80. By the time we hit Friday, even though the next storm is splitting as it comes overhead, our temperatures will start to drop. Mountains will start to get some snow with that system here as we head from late Thursday night into Friday morning. And there's a little bit of a trend that might be developing that I want to talk to you about here in a second. And I'll do that after this short break.
Another attorney commercial with big promises? Millions of dollars, practicing law 24 hours a day, blah, blah, blah. Let's get rid of the smoke and mirrors. None of that really matters. What does matter? Having a medical doctor as your attorney. That matters.
So, this trend in the extended forecast that I want to talk about is a little bit of a southward shift. And I'm going to do this, and then I'll come back to what is happening right now because some of you have asked some questions that I want to talk about. So let me show you the pattern change, or at least the little bit of a shift that we're starting to see here. And it's in the European model more so than the American computer model. Now, here's a look at Friday, late morning. Both of them still have this storm splitting. I've been talking about that for the last few days. But the European model with the northern split, or the first of the two sort of energy lobes that develop, is a little bit slower than the American model, and it's a little bit farther south than it's been the last few days. And here's what that does to the snow forecast. So here's the last few runs of the European model before this morning. They've been real consistent on maybe just touching us here in the Pikes Peak region with the sort of southern fringes of snow, because it is a colder storm than the one that's moving through today. But if it takes a shift south, here's what this morning's model run did. Changes things up a little bit. It might produce a little bit more in the way of snow over the Palmer Divide and maybe a little bit more over the southern mountains. So there's something to watch. I haven't really made that change in my forecast yet, but I'm going to keep watching it. You can see the system still coming in from the west. It's still set to split. It's just what is the track of that northern split that moves over Colorado on Friday. If it takes this little southern jog, maybe we're in business a little bit more. And so you can see by Friday afternoon here, that's what the model kind of looks like, given that southern shift. So we'll keep an eye on that. And so for Colorado Springs, still some work to do on the forecast. Certainly going to be cooler. We still have a chance of showers. I've had that in the forecast. I've been showing you this one here for a couple days. And then we have to figure out what happens with that southern part that hangs out over Baja, Mexico and off the coast here through the weekend. It's probably going to stay to our south, but it may drop our temperatures into next week as well. So something that we have to keep an eye on. I'll show you Pueblo's extended forecast here before I take your questions and before we do a little bit of interaction. By the way, if you would like to join, you can do that. Here are the links to do so. So there's going to be a decent drop in the temperatures between Thursday and Friday. Go from fire danger to cooler and perhaps some moisture, again, depending on how far south that system comes. So that's something that we will watch for. All right, a couple questions here that we have got from a couple people. This is from Karen, who says, I called it this morning. Pueblo West been crazy all afternoon with 70, now 54, rain off and on, some wind gusts, crazy stuff. Thanks for your heads up this morning, Karen. You're very, very welcome. Happy to help with that. Ashley, who said it wasn't raining before, says, take it back. Now it's sprinkling. See, Ashley gave you a little bit of a heads up. Dallas coming home from Northgate, still rain. And that's some good news for travelers for sure. And then Andy asks a little bit more of a weather question here. He says he's at about 38, 39 in Glen Eagle. And are we looking at decent evaporative cooling? Well, sometimes what happens, there's some of that, but we've seen enough rain this afternoon that it's not really the evaporative cooling, but it's some precip dragging. Sometimes when you get a decent little downdraft, in one of these bursts that would help to drop the snow level a little bit. It kind of pulls down some extra cooler air from the cloud. And so that's kind of what we're watching for and what I'm concerned about a little bit. Tracy says, had some rain and hail a few hours ago near North Circle and Uinta. And I got a few people that said, hey, it was kind of nice to get the thunderstorms today. Wasn't it? I mean, I agree with that. It's sort of a nice little, hey, welcome to spring, welcome to March. The atmosphere can destabilize a little bit, and I liked that myself, having the rainfall a little bit earlier. I had to run out and get my hair cut. Does it look good? A little bit better. It was getting a little bit long, so that was something that I needed to do. We'll go ahead and check out the radar here and give people a chance to come in and join me if they want. So here we go, talking the reflectivity on the radar. This is TAMCO Live Doppler radar here, and we'll zoom in on a couple different spots because I've been watching this little storm here move into southern Fremont County, kind of came out of the northern parts of the Wet Mountain Valley there. It's not particularly strong, but it's interesting to watch. And the computer is picking up on that being a little thunderstorm there, kind of moving at 8 miles per hour. Might have a little bit of small hail with that. We saw some of that earlier this afternoon here. Let me take that off. And let me take the opportunity here to talk about the Peaks2Plains weather app. Because if you haven't downloaded it yet, I want to let you know about a couple things you can do in here. So I have mine loaded up right here. And when you click on the weather map at the bottom, and if you go over to the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little tab that comes up. And I get that a little bit close to the lights, but you can see that there. In there, you can select what you want to be displayed on the map. Do you want to see just the radar? Do you want to see the satellite and radar? Do you want to see the wind speed, the temperature? But you can also put some overlays on there, including storm tracks and lightning. And so if I show you that little cell that we were just looking at, see that there's a little yellow thing there? That's the lightning strike. So you can use that if you're a sports coach or if you have a group of people that are outside to help you stay aware of the weather situation. The storm tracks will also give you some information about the individual cells. Let me put that back on there and query that storm. And I'll just give you an example here since we have an opportunity here this afternoon with the active weather happening. But it'll tell you the speed. It'll tell you if there's hail inside that storm. It's a really, really useful tool, but you have to get in there and poke around a little bit. And of course, my Wi-Fi is not amazing. That's what my phone's trying to use here. So I actually lost my data. I need to get a little extender into my office and help with that. So Jennifer says, the app is how I knew there would be a live push notifications. That's one of the things with the app, Jennifer, that is useful too. As things were changing this afternoon, I did a push alert for just El Paso and Teller County. So I didn't bother people in Trinidad with that information because it didn't pertain to them. I also did a push alert for Pueblo and for Canyon City, kind of eastern Fremont County and Pueblo County. So that's how I want to let you know about, kind of grab you and shake you digitally and say, hey, this applies to you, because we all get so much coming at us nowadays. So that's how I'm trying to take care of you. Here's a rain report. This is awesome. We'll take this, a little more than 1/10 of an inch of rain at Bar H Ranch. Thank you. And say, hey, my haircut looks good. Hugs to Banjo. So, things have worked pretty well, like I said, and I just want you to be aware that through the course of the evening here, things may change up just a little bit. And we do have somebody that just joined us here, and so I am going to bring him in now. This is Jim Martin. Jim Martin, what are you doing? We've talked to you before. Has it been a busy day in your world, my friend?
It has been a busy day in my world, so.
Yeah? What did you do today?
Tax stuff for clients and customers and that exciting stuff.
So this guy's making it happen. He's out there. That's, the American economy in action as you see there. Jim, are you getting rain at your place right now on the southwest side of Colorado Springs?
We are. Your forecast this morning was so wicked good that I feel like you're controlling the weather rather than just predicting.
Well, let's be clear here. Don't get me on the wrong lists. I am not controlling the weather, but I'm working really, really hard to try to forecast it. And did you hear any thunder at any point today with where you were?
I did have a little bit of thunder. So.
Okay. So are you kind of excited about that? Like, does that give you a good sense of, oh, hey, things are changing up here a little bit. We're actually getting towards springtime. Or are you like, no, I want more snow?
I want more snow. I'm heading to the mountains to go skiing, so I want snow.
Okay. So we're putting in an order for snow for Jim Martin. Jim, any other report to kind of give us here this afternoon from where you are in the Springs?
No, but it just was a cold, chilly, overcast day in the second half of the day.
Yep.
So.
And, that's what we try to get people ready for here on Peaks2Plains Weather. Thank you for your report, my man. You got the thunder today. You've got the chill. You knew what to expect, though, right? Like Peaks2Plains Weather had you ready to go.
Absolutely. So, and I really liked the notice I got on the app that said you were going to be on at 5 o'clock live. Unfortunately, my son wanted to be picked up from weightlifting right at the time you were logging on. So,
well, so that means you better go get the young man, or if you got him already, I assume.
I got him already. It was a silent ride in the car on the way home.
Well, you'll miss those silent rides, Jim. So you enjoy those while you have them, because the day will come where you'll be wondering where he's driving around and what he's doing, right?
Absolutely. So,
all right,
and
my
I
man.
really enjoyed your open house weathercasters. They were really funny.
Oh yeah, people took the opportunity to recreate some of my finest moments on Fox 21. So we had a little S-bomb that got dropped. No offense, Canyon City, and we had some other things that were kind of referenced as well. But those family and friends, they'll keep you humble with that kind of stuff.
Have a good one.
All right, my man. Have a good evening. Good to hear from you. Thanks for calling in. So, crew, that's kind of how it works. You can do what Jim did there. You can join us live. You can use these links. You can come on and give us a report. And this is the kind of situation where, if things are changing fast and furious where you are, maybe you want to let other people know about it. Now, do I have tools to do that? Of course I do. I mean, we can look outside. We can do that here in Woodland Park right now. We can look at what's happening in Monument. But then those obviously don't look bad. But say this was happening in your neighborhood. I'm going to give you an example here. On top of Cheyenne Mountain, I mean, that looks a little bit different, doesn't it? So that's starting to get some snow sticking there on the camera lens. And, over the next hour, maybe 90 minutes, we start to see that in some other areas. And so I just want you to be aware of that this evening. That's why I wanted to come on here and to give you, a heads up. And since I'm live, I will answer this question. What's your opinion on cloud seeding? So this isn't an opinion per se, but I'm going to take a few minutes here and I'm going to answer this question. There are cloud seeding experiments, and I call them experiments for a certain reason, that have happened and are still happening across the world. Some of them have been here in Colorado. There have been times where some of the ski resorts have put some silver iodide into the atmosphere, kind of upstream of the resort, trying to put cloud condensation nuclei into the atmosphere to give water something to condense or to freeze onto, because water needs a certain shaped molecule to go from its gas form to liquid or snow. You ever noticed when it sprinkles and like the water doesn't run off the side of your car, how dirty it is after? That's because that water has condensed on that dust. We call that cloud condensation nuclei. So it needs certain types of particles. Silver iodide is one of those. Now, here's kind of the issue with cloud seeding, whether it's precipitation production, like the example I just gave you. I have a friend that was in the Middle East that was trying to do a rain production thing. In western Kansas, they've done hail suppression cloud seeding things before. But here's the two things that are, I have three comments to make. One, it's really hard to get the right material into the right part of the cloud at the right time to be effective. Okay. Then from a scientific perspective, there's no control group. You don't have the exact same storm somewhere that you can measure to say, okay, here is the cloud seeding. We know what happened. And here's not the cloud seeding and we know what happened. There's no control group. So there's no way to know if you were effective or not. Then for me, now this is my opinion, there are some ethical things. Because let's go back to the ski resort example. Let's say it does work, okay? And so ski resort A is doing cloud seeding and is making more snow, taking water out of the air. Well, ski resort B, who might be downstream of them, maybe they're not getting as much snow because ski resort A is taking it. Does that make sense? That's just a kind of ethical thing that I've always thought of. So, Anna, I hope that answers your question for you. And, that's kind of thing that Peaks2Plains Weather is all about as well. So, that's kind of what we do here is we try to take care of each other and, we'll answer the hard things. I'll talk about the hard things. I have no problem doing that. Okay, if you just joined us here, a little bit of a recap for you. Go to the Tamco Live Doppler radar. Been watching a thunderstorm kind of come out of southern Fremont County there where you see the red. We've been zooming in on that thing. It's these little localized convective cells that I've been trying to harp on for the last couple of days about my concern as we head toward the late part of the day and the evening here. Because if one of those things starts to, if this thing can hold together as it moves toward Cripple Creek or something, make it a situation where we get some real quick accumulations of snow. There might be some of that happening up in Teller County right now. See this darker kind of blue that has developed right in here? And this is the kind of thing that I'm watching for here as we move into the evening. These little bursts are what could put down a quick inch or two of some snow. It's certainly a possibility. Still not seeing that happening yet here across the Front Range. I mean, radar is picking up on rain drops. And that's one of the advancements with dual pole radar that's been really, really nice is by having two radar beams, one kind of oriented vertically and one horizontally, is we can get the shape of the precipitation particles and then compare those in the X and Y axis. And so we know if they're sort of circular or not. And snowflakes obviously are a lot, more variable than raindrops. And so we can compare like, hey, at least where the radar beam is hitting, because remember, that's up above your head here where I just circled in El Paso County. And the farther you get away from the radar, the higher that radar beam, even at its lowest tilt, is. So, we have greater confidence in the precipitation type detection in radar than we used to have because of dual pole. That's one of the advancements that we've seen. But, not all of this is hitting it down to the ground. In fact, I have a combination of radars there. I just took that off. So now we're looking at the radar coming from northeast Pueblo County. And this has given us a better view here. And you see what might be a little bit of bright banding over Pueblo where there's some mixed phase precipitation or some ice that maybe has some liquid on the outside of it. Kind of watching for that there. But the precipitation as the temperatures drop is going to pick up a little bit because some of it that maybe has been evaporating on the way down isn't going to do so anymore. So that's just something to be aware of here as we head through the evening as well. Angela just chimed in, said, thanks for your updates, Angela. You're very, very welcome. Hope you find them useful. That's kind of what we're all about here. And crew, I have all sorts of stuff that I've got in the weather computer ready to go. So if you want to talk about different things, we certainly can do that since I'm live. I did update this a little bit ago. This is snowpack across Colorado. We had a brief little window where we went up above the 0 percentile on this modern data set. This is the SNOWTEL data set of these automated weather systems across the state. But we're back down into the lowest part of the data set. So that's not good news. But we do have some snow on the way to Colorado's mountains here with this back part of the weak system. And I'll show you that again in case you've been popping in and out here. Because I think, the central and northern mountains with this system for Friday are going to do okay. What we're working on is lower elevations, especially south of the Palmer Divide. And while over the last couple of days, it's been looking like that's going to be mainly up to our north, might be starting to see a little bit of a shift here in what we are seeing in the computer models. I haven't made that change in the Peaks2Plains Weather app as of yet, but I'm going to kind of keep an eye on that here as we move over the next couple of days. So if you want to make sure that you get that, download the Peaks2Plains Weather app, and we'll make sure that you're all taken care of there. So that's kind of it here. I'll end with a satellite picture of what's happening out there this afternoon because we've got this system coming in from the west here, and it's not past us as of yet. You see it kind of swirling in here. It's got some cool air aloft, and that's what has helped to destabilize the atmosphere this afternoon. And then at the surface, we have this cold front that has moved through. Oops, let me fire that back up. We have this cold front that is now off to our south here. And that cold front is pushing some cooler air kind of up against the hills here. And it's this combination of this system coming in from the west and what has happened here at the surface that's giving us this precipitation right here up against the eastern mountains in the Front Range. And again, this shouldn't have been a surprise to you if you've been watching Peaks2Plains Weather, because we've been talking about it for 4 or 5 days now as a possibility for today, and that is how it's worked out. One more check of cameras before I get out of here, and then what I'll do if it gets wild this evening somewhere, I'll pop in and I'll do an update. But it hasn't been as of yet, and that's good news. I mean, I don't necessarily want things to get crazy. It's certainly not that way in Woodland Park yet, which is about the same elevation as Cloud Camp from the Broadmoor. But that's a totally different story. That's the variability that we have been talking about here over the last few days. So, just if you're going to be out this evening, be aware of the potential for some snow up above. I would say ultimately, as the evening goes on, probably 6,700 feet. So that's still, pretty high up on the north end of the metro area, up across the Palmer Divide. And as you start climbing into Ute Pass and the slopes of Pikes Peak, obviously, things might change. So just be aware of that. And, you're on Peaks2Plains Weather, our weather together. And so you've been ready for it. So thanks for watching here. Like I said, if we get something wild happening this evening, I'll pop back on and something that obviously you'll be ready for.